Hi, I'm Perry Broker,
And I'm Matt Mullen.
and we'll be your anchors for this edition of Holbrook High News.
Let's start off the show with some national and international news. Ebola has frightened many people as of late. Causes of Ebola have been found mainly in Africa. The state has a plan for dealing with the potential outbreak of the virus in Massachusetts. Health facilities in the state are asking questions to determine if people with Ebola-like symptoms have traveled to dangerous regions. There have been many people who have reported symptoms of Ebola, but no confirmed causes have been found in Massachusetts. On October 13th, a plane at Logan Airport reported passengers on board that had symptoms of Ebola. 5 passengers were taken from the plane to the hospital. Hopefully in the next couple of years, scientists will come out with a vaccine to cure Ebola for good.
The situation on ISIS has only gotten worse. For those who are new to this story, ISIS is a far more violent Al-Qaeda. Violence and panic roams Iraq and other Middle Eastern countries with suicide bombings and other targeted attacks. American forces, along with 50 nations, have been trying to fight the terrorists while keeping the peace in this unstable region. We hope that the crisis will be suppressed and that the loss of life will cease. And now we'll bring you to Brian DeStoop with more on the Ferguson, Missouri shooting crisis.
In the small town of Ferguson, Missouri, groundbreaking events are taking the country by storm. It all started with the questionable killing of Michael Brown. Brown was killed by a police officer on the side of a street corner. There have been many different stories and theories on what led up to Brown's killings. This incident has created great turmoil for the small town and left many wondering why this boy was killed. One detail that has been confirmed is that Brown was not armed when he was shot. He posed no lethal threat to the officer's well-being whatsoever. He was shot at least 6 times. Ferguson, Missouri has been protesting this and standing by the belief that Brown was innocent and did not deserve to die. Many details have come to light on the events leading up to Brown's death. Some say Brown and his friend had a quick conversation with the officer and that the officer told the two to get off the street. They told the officer that they would be arriving at their destination shortly. Then the cop came back and shot and killed Brown. Other reports suggest the 2 men had just been at a convenience store that had just been robbed and fit the description of the thieves, although it is now believed the 2 had no part in the robbery. Since Brown's death, there have been violent protests by the community of Ferguson, Missouri. The people of the town are outraged at the police and have shown it in their protests. More than 50 people have been arrested while protesting, and things don't seem to be slowing down at all. Police have tried using tear gas to suspend protesting, but it has not worked thus far. The protesters simultaneously have been destroying their own town during the early protests, which turned into riots. As of late, protests have remained peaceful and not destructive. To complicate matters, another black man has innocently been shot by police shortly after the Brown shooting. The man did indeed have a knife and was erratically screaming and telling the police to shoot him. However, instead of shooting the man to wound and arrest, they shot and killed him. Once again, this was a white police officer. This leaves questions on the power of police officers and race issues in America. Many remember the Trayvon Martin case from not so long ago, when he was shot and killed when it was believed he did not pose a threat. In the heat of the Ferguson case, it makes many Americans wonder if the police are a friend or a foe, if they have to watch their backs for the police because of the way they look. Many wonder if the police even have the right to ask certain questions, such as, where are you going, or what are your intentions? All we know as Americans is that this is a serious problem, and it's on our hands right now to fix it. For Holbrook High News, I'm Brian DeStoop.
In gaming and internet news, the popular sandbox game Minecraft has been sold for $2.5 billion to the king of companies, Microsoft. A large part of why it has been sold is centered around the founder of the game, Notch Parson. Notch says that the company of has gotten too big than what he ever anticipated. He has decided that he doesn't want the responsibility of running such a company on such a global scale. I just hope Microsoft stays true to the game and doesn't put their own ideas to this classic masterpiece on screen. We just hope Notch is happy with his decision and will not look back on his verdict.
The NFL has been on thin ice for the past month. There have been some domestic violence issues from the players. Ray Rice knocked out his wife in an elevator, and the NFL was claiming that they didn't know about the video, but they had it since the spring. Over the past year, there have been 5 domestic violence issues, and a bunch of different ones, like Adrian Peterson's child abuse. The NFL has been hiding, and they need to take charge and stop all the violence. And now, on to our most crazy and brutally honest reporter, Dylan Carroll Brown, with his segment, Under the Hood.
Good morning, afternoon, and night to all you Holbrook peeps. I see you checking out this new edition of Under the Veil. Whoops, I meant Under the Hood. First things first, I'm the realist. No, but seriously, the government is stupid. I mean, really? You say you want to better the future of us, and yet you let their stupid, so-called officials be the laws that control us. P.S. I know you're stalking me when I'm taking a walk down the street. I see so many cameras around. Speaking of cameras, this year the school tells juniors to sell soup. Soup? Who in God's name wants soup? I mean, really, I asked almost all the teachers in this fine establishment, and they all said no. Mainly because they already have been asked. But that's not the point of this topic. You want us to sell, then you need to give us a product to sell. Speaking of dumb products, now this may offend some people, but I don't care because I love it. But back on track. Now the iPhone 6 is truly dumb, especially when people try to bend it. I mean, really, why are you trying to bend a phone? You bend it, it's gonna break. That's simple. Psychology, no, not psychology, physics. Physics is where it's at. And you know what else goes with physics? Shaking. And you know what shaking this time around? Anaconda. Anaconda shaking. You know that song by Nicki Minaj? My anaconda don't want none unless you got buns, hun. But now, speaking of school, grandparents, all you Holbrook peeps, because I know all you are old, no offense, you're old but wise. We need you to say yes. Say yes to a new school. Not for us, not for this old generation, but for the new one, so they can learn in a better environment. Praise it. Praise the new school. Praise the Lord. Thank you.
Now on to more local news stories. Recently, news of the low gas prices in Holbrook have created long lines on South Franklin Street. With Sal's price currently the lowest in town, it has increased the competition for businesses at nearby gas stations in Holbrook. Sal's and EJ's gas is ever close in price. Only 1 cent separates them for now. Sal's is cheaper than any other gas station in the area. Sal's only costs $2.88 in comparison to EJ's gas that costs $2.89. Both gas stations update their prices around every hour. With the gas stations being so close in their location and prices, it makes it hard to keep up the competition. Sal Suker, owner of Sal's, said that he won't let the new owner of EJ's across the street beat him in the beginning of the neighborhood gas war. Other gas stations around them, like Mutual Gas, is very close in price. Mutual is offering $2.95 a gallon even while on the same street as Sal's and EJ's. And so the battle between these gas stations continues.
In other local news, the CVS in Holbrook located on the corner of South and South Franklin Street was robbed on Saturday, September 20th. A 911 call came in saying, a man has just robbed the store of about $105 in cash. This is when Sergeant William Keegan and several other officers began searching for Scott P. St. Martin, a 43-year-old Foxborough man who is now charged in the robbery. A couple of hours later, Holbrook Canine Officer Josh Knowlton and his police dog Bo spotted St. Martin behind the Holbrook High School. While several officers responded to the scene, St. Martin kept running away from the police. Bo, the police dog, caught up with St. Martin, who was later treated and released from Signature Healthcare at Brockton Hospital for treatment of a head injury and dog bites to his arms. St. Martin was charged with unarmed robbery, assault and battery on a police officer, and 2 counts of resisting arrest. Fortunately, nobody was seriously hurt in the robbery. Now, here's Liz to give us an update on what's new in the school.
Thanks, Perry. Creating a brand new school building seems to be an increasingly popular option for the town of Holbrook. Action must be taken to address the decaying and unsuitability of the public school buildings in our town. The options are to repair the current schools, leave them as they are, or demolish them and build a new pre-K through 12 grade school. Repair of the current school buildings would not be funded by the state and would cost taxpayers more money overall than building a new facility. Building an up-to-date school's cost would be offset by the state through the Massachusetts School Building Authority, and therefore, building new would be less cost to the town. It says a lot that it would cost more to fix our school buildings than to build new ones. Our schools are falling apart. In fact, our existing elementary schools fall 31% below MSBA standards, and our junior-senior high school falls 21% below these standards. There's also a risk of losing school accreditation if the buildings are not code compliant. Creating safe schools is needed in order for Holbrook to retain accreditation and not risk the state taking over. Making a single building that contains all grades would prove to be the most economical option for our community. It would also provide state-of-the-art security, shared resources between grades, and the elimination of all 3 problematic school buildings at once. There would be marked separations between the elementary and high schools that would be locked and alarmed, so there would be no regular interaction between older and younger grades. As a person who has attended all 3 public schools in Holbrook, I recognize that the state of the buildings has distracted and sometimes even stopped the learning process. Ceiling tiles have literally fallen off during class, and water leaks have dripped in from the roof. It's clear to students that these schools need to be dealt with, and they can be dealt with in a number of ways. But the possibility of a brand new school building is getting students excited to come to school in the future, and we should truly be the biggest influence upon the voters' final decision. For more information about the new school building, go to holbrook.k12.ma.us and click on New Holbrook Pre-K through 12 School. Regardless of your opinion on this matter, please remember to vote on November 4th. Back to you, Perry.
And to end off that story on a positive note, there is even more to be happy about in our current school system. Recently, news has been released that Holbrook Junior-Senior High School has reached Level 2 status. The leveling system is based off the school's performance on the MCAS, which is based on a scale from 1 to 5, with 5 being the worst and 1 being the best. The JFK has also received a Level 2 status, and the South School receives a 1 for their score. As a whole, Holbrook school system receives a Level 2 status, which Holbrook school officials respond, "Although we are proud of this achievement, we are not satisfied with Level 2 status." As we can tell from this statement, the people working for Holbrook school systems hope to change as much as they can to reach Level 1 status. Now let us take you to an update on sports with Joe Pransky.
Thanks, Matt. This year the Pats have had an up and down season. The next week for the Pats will face off with the Bears. With the Pats at 5-2, it's bound to be an exciting game. Let's talk about Brady for a second. In one of the recent games, Gerard Mayo and Stephen Ridley had season-ending injuries. In this Pats ESPN Boston blog, Brady states on injuries, "It's our job to carry on." In this article, Brady talks about what great players Jared and Steven are. The start of the 2014-2015 hockey season has not started well for the President's Trophy winning Boston Bruins. In their first 4 games, they only have 1 win, coming in a 2-1 win against the Philadelphia Flyers. During the offseason, the Bruins did not make many moves and let Jerome McGinley sign to the Colorado Avalanche. The Bruins lack a key goal scorer, something they sorely need. After trading defenseman Johnny Boychuk to the New York Islanders for the draft picks, the Bruins also need to help on defense to aid Zdeno Chara, Dennis Seidenberg, and Adam McQuaid. Although it is still early in the NHL season, David Krejci has only played in one game. He is a top goal scorer and needs to stay on the ice for the Bruins. NHL hockey analysts have high hopes for the Bruins, and Barry Melrose has predicted them to win the Stanley Cup. Bruins fans expect them to make the playoffs, but only time will tell how far they will go. Us Bruins fans hope for a long playoff run. With the Royals and Giants tied 1-1 in the World Series, and although the Red Sox are not in the playoffs, some of the World Series champions from last year were or are still in the playoffs. Jake Peavy is on the Giants as a starting pitcher, and John Lackey is on the Cardinals for a starting pitcher. A catcher that got dropped by the Red Sox this year named AJ Brzezinski got picked up by the Cardinals for the replacement of Yadier Molina. Yadier mind if you think Molina is coming back with an oblique injury. In local sports, the football team and girls soccer team and volleyball team are all in some form of rebuilding and will miss the playoffs. One bright note in Holbrook High sports is the boys soccer team led by junior Yusuf Ziad. They are currently 13-1 as of filming and will likely draw a number 1 seed in the state tournament. Best of luck. That's all we got for you today. Back to you guys.
This has been Holbrook High News. For Matt Mullen, I'm Perry Broker. Until next time, Holbrook. I mean, it's not your